Hello everyone, today it's another vintage vacuum cleaner from the 70s I believe, another vintage Hoover, and yes it is another Hoover Constellation. So if you've seen all my other Hoover Constellation videos you might not want to watch this one, but you never know, something exciting might happen. It might blow up, I might find a dead rat inside, who knows. So stay tuned folks, we could be in for a bumpy ride. I did ask the seller to pack this cleaner well and pay particular attention to protecting the handle. I even suggested he could remove the handle and pop it inside for extra safety. So I don't know what's happened. He said he's used a lot of bubble wrap and oh, I'd hate it when they do this. Well, that's not so bad as a dirty old duvet. I've had vacuums wrapped in a duvet before. That looks relatively clean. And that's a big cushion inner, isn't it? So that certainly has protected the top, and for some unknown reason you do see some odd things people use for packaging. You really do. This takes the cake. It's worth watching my videos even if you've seen a Constellation, because we never know. You never know what you're going to get. We've got a jug. I wouldn't use that in my kitchen, but that's possibly a jug I could use for paint, for topping up the car with the de-icer or whatever. And we got two of them. Two lovely jugs. There you go. I've managed to fit a double entendre in so early on in the video. Two jugs for you. Oh, what a lovely pair. Right. Oh. Okay, what's this? Well, there's lots of bubble wrap, but there seems to be some movement in the handle, and there seems to be some black tape on the handle that wasn't on the handle. Right, okay. This is not from a collector, I'm sure. The person said they were clear he was selling it for his parents. So, oh, hang on. Let's just quickly get through this. And this is the... Yeah, this looks worse than the pictures. It did look quite good. The machine itself, there were no pictures of the inside or the underside, but they were supposed to be to follow. But I decided to buy it before they followed because it was on a buy it now price. And yeah, actually it's not too bad. That's the Hoover flip over floor tool. Seen use, obviously, but that will clean up fine. Right, nice soft brushes for hard floors, that one. We have the wands. I call them wands. What do you call them? Extension tubes, extension wands. What else can you call these? I don't know. Let's hope that the plastic clips are intact, because that's something that fails, doesn't it? Yep. That's fine, and it's genuine Hoover. It says Hoover on it. And again, that says Hoover. This doesn't have all the tools. We are missing the crevice and dusting tool, but I'm sure I've got some of those. Here is the all-purpose nozzle, the only small tool included. Let's have a look at this, see what the teeth are like, if they've been worn down, or if they're in good nick. Oh, crikey. I mean, there's packaging in this packaging, folks. I mean, I do like a well-packed machine, but sometimes they go a bit over the top. The main thing to protect in here is the cleaner itself, especially the handle. You probably know that the Constellation is an all-metal cleaner, but metal can dent. It's not impervious to damage. Crikey. Blimey O'Reilly. We'll open this and find it's all cracked. Oh, there we are. Phew. Right. A little bit dirty, but it's got all its teeth. All its teeth. And they're not all black, as you'd assume if they'd been used a lot. Not bad at all. Shame we're missing the other two tools, but it, you know, doesn't matter. I will have some. One day I'll go through all my vintage machines and get the toolkits correct for them. Make sure they've got the correct tools. Now it's a dirty, I love these actually though. I love a dirty hose, don't you? This is dirty. I love a dirty hose because it's so satisfying. When you see this again, you'll see how white this hose is. It looks filthy, and it's filthy. But they clean up so well, and it's just so therapeutic to clean an old vacuum up. So the hose, it is genuine. Bit of paint on, that'll come off. It's got the genuine end because it's embossed with Hoover, if you can just about see. It's got the, I would say, yes, it is a genuine handle. The clip is intact, and we got a stiff suction control, but I can unscrew that, clean it up, and it'll loosen that up. So that's good. Just dirt, folks. It's just dirt and no damage. Right, fingers crossed. Well, it's allowed me to lift it up anyway. Oh, is this something? Oh, hang on, is that a dusting brush? Is that a dusting brush? It wasn't pictured. I'll check the box again in case the seller found the crevice tool. Yes, this is the dusting brush. And again, I really love getting cleaners in this condition because, yes, it's dirty, but those brushes are fantastic. It's just dirt. Dirt that will hot soapy water, and that will look like new again. Fantastic. Oh, that's good, little bonus. We'll have another rummage, just in case. The crevice tool doesn't seem to be here, no. I will check thoroughly all the packaging. But here is the cleaner itself. Let's have a closer look. Most people, if they're getting rid of a vacuum, if they say, oh, I've got an old Hoover you can have, and you might find, well, it's not even a Hoover brand, because obviously, certainly in the UK, people call a vacuum a Hoover. They still do. But people would know what this is. It doesn't have the name on it. Some of the Constellations did actually say Constellation on them, but the later versions, the 70s ones, didn't say Constellation. But these were very typical sight in 70s homes, and then even into the 80s. These could still be found in use, vacuuming out the car, because wifey has bought herself one of those newfangled Vax machines, and the poor Constellation has been shoved in the garage. Now that's not what I hoped we wouldn't do. The plug is on the body of the machine, and it's a hard plastic plug. I think it's an old MK. Oh, right. Oh no, what's that? It's okay. The handle has discoloured a bit. It's gone a bit cream. But this is, yeah, this is quite good. Little dent or two. I do have a more, you've seen if you've watched my channel for a while, an almost new in the box one. The one with the faulty switch. That needs tightening up. It's a bit loose. It's not broken. They've even left this on. Look at this. A Hoover quality product, British made and BEAB approved. That's the British Electrotechnicals Approvals Board that tested electrical appliances and gave them the stamp of approval if they were electrically safe. And then here we have on the back, Hoover, make things better for you. So it's definitely a 70s cleaner. We will be able to date the machine. Right, I'm going to take this off, but to keep it intact, I'm going to just slip the handle off and remove it that way, instead of just cutting this vintage yellow cord here, string. Just going to unwrap the cable from around the base. So I haven't seen the base from the picture, and I haven't seen the inside. So this is certainly age appropriate MK, quite an ugly bulky plug. I think for this I'm going to put one of my little Ashley, vintage but new Ashley plugs on this, because this would go, an Ashley plug would be from this era. This one would clean up okay, but there is a little bit of damage at the top. There should be a small hole there, but it's broken at the top as well. And it's just a bit ugly looking, so I'm going to put a more sleek looking Ashley plug. I would say it's the original cable. It's just white, and the cable goes into the machine at the back here, and you can see that the strain relief cable grommet is in excellent condition. So all in all, doesn't seem to be any dents on the top. That is in lovely condition. There are a few sort of marks on it that probably will remain after I've tea-cutted and polished this, but you'd have to be quite close up to see the imperfections. That is lovely. Look into my magic ball. What can you see? I can see a mentally deranged man with lots of hoovers. Well, yes, you can. Here is the lovely big, I love these, the big Hoover roundel. That's in lovely shape, isn't it? Look at that. And this is earlier than a couple I've got, because the later ones, it was just more or less stuck on. This is riveted in place. So you'd have to drill out those rivets if you ever wanted to respray this. And even the hose inlet, this normally shows signs of wear, paint coming off, but that's pretty good, isn't it? That's pretty good. I'm going to look inside before we look underneath. Let me just have a go with the switch first. That sounds okay. It doesn't have that little problem that these switches have where it doesn't quite switch off and you have to sort of move it down slightly. But that one, that's fine and dandy. Let's see if it's got an original bag in, shall we? Well, first thing I've noticed that's good, it's got a little bit of damage inside here. It's got this doobry here. Doobry thingamajig, whatchamacallit. That's what I call something I can't remember the name of. Anyway, it seals the bag to a fashion to stop the dust leaking out. It does smell rather vintage. Right, that's fallen off. That is not the correct bag slide, but we do have, I will put a new bag in this before I switch on. It is genuine, but it absolutely stinks. It's very old smelling. Yuck. And there is I don't think that's even a proper, well, it's not the proper thing. I think the bag slide originally would have been metal and not as long as that. We've got the felt filter, 3 Phillips screws to access the motor. So not too bad at all in there. I'll vacuum this off before I switch on. So yeah, that's all right. Let's close up the catch and let's have a look underneath. Judging by the outward appearance of this Constellation, I think it's had a fairly easy life. I don't think this one was relegated to the garage for car cleaning. I think this has probably been shoved in the loft. It's not been anywhere damp. Could have just been in a wardrobe of a spare bedroom of someone's large house, retired couple, kids flown the nest, lots of spare bedrooms, and they've just shoved stuff at backs of wardrobes. Right, let's see what it's going to look like underneath. Wow, that is pretty good. Look at that, folks. I mean, the only better one I've got that is perfect underneath is that almost new in the box one. One that had the faulty switch, so it probably was never used. This one obviously has been used, but they've only dragged this probably over carpet because that is fantastic. This is the area where the paint would wear off, just around the rim here. There's a few nicks, but blimey O'Reilly. And here, if I can grab my hose, that is where you attach the hose. If you want to blow things with your Constellation, you just put your Constellation on the side and you can blow muck out of inaccessible places, especially using the crevice tool, which, as I said, is not in here. If this had the crevice tool in the instruction book, it would have been marvellous, but I do have a crevice tool, I'm sure. I do also have the instruction book for this model. But all in all, yeah, that's nice. And I paid £90, I don't mind admitting, I paid £90, plus I think it's £10 delivery. So it was £100, but at the time I bought this, there were and still are, a few Constellations on sale. They often crop up on eBay because they were a very popular machine. But often when you see them on eBay, they're battered, they're rusty. Some are absolutely completely gone. And you'd think, why would anyone buy that? And a lot of them don't have the original hose. They don't have all the tools. So when I saw this, I did put an offer in of £80. And then I thought about it and thought, no, I'll just buy it for the sake of £10, because somebody else sees this, they'll buy it. And so I just paid for it. I just said, well, I'll just have it, because it was a good price when there were others on eBay at the time much worse than this for more money, or around the same price, around £90. But this is a lovely example. Well, yes, let's date it. I'm hoping this is a particular date, because I've got a plan for another video. So I'm hoping this is from a certain year. But we'll see. Let's have a look again. We'll turn around the cleaner, turn it upside down, and we can date the machine from the little sticker here. This is Hoover model 867A, 240 volts, 40 to 60 hertz, 600 watts. It's got the double insulation mark, so it's only a 2-core flex on this, no need to earth. Serial number is 0867507030066. Trademarks of Hoover Limited, made by Hoover Limited, Great Britain. So we've got the model number in the serial number, which is 867, followed by a number 5. So in the serial number, 867 denotes the model, and then 5 after 867 denotes the year. So we can say this was something 5. Now, I know this is not from 65 because it's too modern, and it's not from 85 because they weren't making Constellations in 85. They were making them in the very early 80s, possibly up to 1982. That was the last one, I believe. So we know this is a 70s machine. So this has come off of the production line in 1975, which is a little bit of a shame, because I was hoping it was a bit earlier. I was hoping it was from 1973, because I had a themed video planned where I was going to show a lot of 1973 Hoover cleaners, all in this colour, which I think is Mandarin Blue. So I've got other machines from this era, but say they're 2 years younger than this. I could still feature it. It still would go very well with that Mandarin Blue collection. They just wouldn't be all the same age, that's all. This would be a young whippersnapper, just 2 years younger though. We're not going to complain about 2 years, are we? I was going to have a quick look inside this Constellation before switching on, but I'm going to throw caution to the wind and just do it. If it blows up, it's a bit more entertainment for you, isn't it? And I'll have to go and change my underwear. And you cruel lot, you'd like that, wouldn't you? You'd like this to go bang and me to scream like a little girl. And that might happen, so keep watching. What I am going to do, because old cleaners do have a tendency, this might not, but older cleaners tend to spew out a lot of dust and clouds of muck and bits. If you've watched my initial switches on of old machines, you'll know that that does happen from time to time. So, in order to keep that debris, if any, to a minimum, I've attached the hose to the blowing outlet, and I'm going to put the hose inside the hose inlet, but I'll need to put a bag in. So let's reach over. I've got these vintage bags. These were the nearest I had to hand. These are an American bag. You'll have seen these if you'd watched my Hoover portable model 2201, I think it was. The imported one. That came with a lot of bags, so I'll just put this in for now. This is non-reusable, so we don't need a clip. Oh, it's just plain and boring. It'll do the job for the initial switch on. Even the genuine bags are just a single layered paper. I believe you can put Henry bags in these, but you have to remove the bag doubly, the grommet, the seal thing, and I think a Henry bag fits on, sort of. But I'm going to use this one. Make sure it's in position. You see, the non-genuine bags sometimes don't fit quite so well, or you have to struggle a bit to get them to fit properly. But anyway, that's done. close the top half of the Constellation. Okie dokie. There we are. Right. Hopefully, if this cleaner works, that's going to keep any muck safely inside the dust bag. Okay folks, I hope this Hoover Constellation sounds as good as she looks. She's a bit dry. She's a dry old girl, aren't you? You're going to need more than a quick wipe over. Bit of a spit on a damp cloth and a polish. You're going to need a little bit more than that, aren't you? But anyway, hopefully you're not going to emit anything out of your bottom. We'll try you again. Wow, that is odd. There's no suction at all. There's no suction. Now I don't think the hose is blocked, because if it was blocked, I think attaching it to the blowing outlet would have blown anything. Why is there no suction whatsoever? Ah, and this Constellation is spitting out bits of black, which is from the diffuser. Why on earth? Right, I'm going to unplug. I told you it's worth watching. I was not expecting that. No suction whatsoever. I did vacuum the filter. So, I mean, the filter isn't blocked up. That is strange. That's never happened. Right, let me find the right screwdriver bit. The first thing that springs to mind is perhaps it's missing the seal around the motor at the top. Let's check. Yes, I have unplugged. Always double check that before you open up anything. Make sure it's unplugged. Well, we know there is a motor inside because it made a noise. Wow, right. Well, here's the underside. So, I mean, this is not refurbished. I can normally spot a cleaner that's been opened and cleaned out, because this cleaner has got a little bit of dust. Right, now that the seal isn't quite the seal isn't quite in place, but I wouldn't have thought that small difference would have. Oh, that's odd, isn't it? That. Shall we turn on? I don't think I've ever turned one of these on with the motor top off, but we might as well. At least we'll be able to see. Now I'm looking. You can't see. Oh, there's more. Oh, it's all loads of stuff's come out the bottom, and that's gonna stain my carpet. Look at that, folks. So I'll have to be careful. Let's try and pick up as much as I can now. Now, most of the diffuser has perished and it has already been blown out. That's where it goes. I just got to put a new piece of coarse foam in that. So it was floating very well. So there was definitely, the motor was working, it was blowing through the exhaust. I think it possibly is because this seal, how could that make such a difference? No suction at all. This seal isn't quite seated properly. The seal is in very good condition. Stay tuned, folks, because I will turn this on with the motor exposed. Don't do this at home. I'm not going to be near it when it happens. The camera will be, though. But I will be hiding in the corner. I mean, this seal is in lovely condition. I mean, look at it. It is really good. So it is absolutely... That's flummoxed me. And we'll see when the motor comes on. Yeah, the fan will turn because we had blowing, didn't we? We had the machine blowing. Now that is possibly seated a bit better. Now we'll give it a quick go. Hopefully the motor's not going to jolt about too much because it's not being held into place with the top cover. Well, no, that seemed fine. And looking on the underside of the motor cover, after giving it a wipe, it barely needs it though. I mean, that seems to be. I mean, perhaps this filter. I mean, I vacuumed the top of it. Perhaps the filter is really, really clogged. So the next thing we can try is to pop the machine cover back on, the motor cover, and switch on without the filter. Yeah, the motor cover is starting to show. The paint is starting to degrade slightly on the inside, under where the filter would be. I don't know. You see, I don't think if the filter was blocked as much as that's odd, because if the filter was blocked, then you'd know, wouldn't you? Because the motor tone would be high and it would sound blocked, but the motor sounded normal. If this doesn't work now, I mean, it could just be as simple as that little black rubber seal at the top of the motor just being a little bit distorted, and just by removing it and repositioning it, it might fix it. I don't know. That is, if this doesn't work now, I'll be flummoxed, and I'm going to have to get some advice or have a closer look. This has never ever happened. Right, there we are. And the only other problem there could be would be with the furniture guard, which is also the seal. But as I close the machine... Is that... I don't know. Oh dear. Dearly me, folks. I can see exactly why there's no suction. There's a huge gap. How has that happened? What is distorted? Is it the top or the bottom? And could that have happened in transit? Well, oh dear. You see, it fits okay in some areas. It's here. There's an absolute huge gap. How can I show you that there's a huge gap? Can take the dust bag. Get a dust bag. That's not right. I can't work out what's happened. Is it the top that's somehow got bent out of shape, or the bottom? Looks like the bottom. Right. It's going to be, oh dear, it's going to be rubber mallet time. No, it's not just the bottom. It'll be... We could save this, folks. It could just be the motor cover that somehow got bent out of shape. Perhaps this was in the loft when we had that heat wave in 2022 and it sort of distorted it. So I don't know. Oh dearie me, that's a new one for me. Never seen that happen. Let's plug back in. Oh, no, that's not... Don't force anything. It could be just... No, see, if I push it one way, it comes out the other way. Leaves a gap that side. And that is really odd. That is really, really odd, folks. But I'm sure I do have at least 2 spare machines. So... I'll have to look into it. It could well be the motor cover. I will know in an instant, but I can't do it in this video. It's a shame, but that's all we're going to see from this Constellation for this particular video. We will be seeing her again, of course, at some point. That fits in. Now, on the picture, one of these didn't fit properly in. But yes, it does. They just didn't push it in properly. There we are. Well, I can to finish the video, I can pretend I'm cleaning with it. Now, don't write in and say you have not used the bag. There's no point. It doesn't matter that there's no bag or filter in this at the moment because there's no suction. So it's not going to pick up very much, if anything. But I'll just end by just having a quick push. This nozzle will work very well on my plush pal carpet with no suction. Well, there you go. That's the end of today's video on the Hoover Constellation Model 867A from 1975. If you have any suggestions of how I can fix Connie's problem, please comment below. I mean, hopefully, by the time you see this video, I might have fixed it myself, but knowing me, I'll have probably put Connie away in the back of the cupboard and forgotten about her until I had time to have another look. But as soon as I can, I will be getting another motor cover from another Constellation, put it on this one and just see if that fixes the problem, and at least I'll know that it is the motor cover that needs hammering into shape rather than the base of the machine. Hopefully it is the motor cover. I don't really want to start hammering at the base of this lovely Mandarin Blue Constellation because that base is in fantastic condition. If you have any comments or questions about the Hoover Constellation, please comment below and I'll see you all very soon for the next video. Thanks for watching and bye for now.